Do you really need to complete a postdoctoral fellowship before applying for your first job in academia? Stick around and let's talk about it today on Navigating Academia. What's up, everybody? My name is Dr. Phoenix Singh, and I want to warmly welcome you to this episode of Navigating Academia, your leading source for guidance on how to advance your career in academia. As always, I appreciate the love, so please do take just a minute here to like and share this video with your friends, colleagues, and students. Subscribe to our channel, hit that bell so that you get notifications about any time we post a new video, and comment below. You can follow us at these social media accounts. So, today we're going to be talking about a topic that I get asked about all the time, which is essentially whether or not you really should or even have to complete a postdoctoral fellowship before beginning your academic career as, whatever the lowest level professor is in your country. So, for example, if I'm in the US, it would be an assistant professor. Right? So usually it goes, graduate student, postdoc, assistant professor, associate professor, full professor. And usually you get tenure at the associate level, sometimes the full professorship level, but usually associate level. That's in the United States. It differs in Europe. It differs in a variety of other countries where I've had the pleasure of living and working over the past decade. My quick answer is that, is it 100% necessary? It's not. But there are a variety of reasons why it can be one of the most valuable experiences in your entire academic career, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. I faced this exact question when I had to make the decision after I finished my first doctorate at Oxford. Should I just apply for assistant professor positions, or should I take a postdoc? Postdocs can vary in terms of their length from 1 year all the way up to about 5 years. I've even heard of postdocs going on for like an entire decade, which is kind of wild. That is not normal at all. Usually it's maybe 2 to 5 years max. So they serve a variety of different functions. Some people are kind of like, isn't it kind of like community college, where it's like you couldn't get a position, so you do the postdoc instead? Let me tell you, that was not the case for me whatsoever. When I finished Oxford, I didn't plan on living in Europe. I planned on living in the States, and I didn't have a ton of contacts in the United States, but I knew that the #1 forensic psychology postdoc in the US when I finished my doctorate, which is, a decade ago, it was at University of South Florida, which was at it's called the Florida Mental Health Institute in the Department of Mental Health Law and Policy. And it was my dream place to go. There were a couple of mentors there who I'd been reading their work all throughout graduate school. And the big thing for me was how they wrote. The elegance of the writing was so beautiful to me that I'm like, I want to learn how to write like these guys. So somebody once asked me, what's your goal? And I said, I didn't even know where they were at the time, but I said, there was one particular guy. This guy, wherever he is, I'm going to go and be a postdoc there because he's the one that I want to learn from. And I got very lucky to be accepted into that program because one of his postdocs was leaving and I was able to get the job and come in. Really, really lucky. And yeah, I worked my butt off in grad school, but so has everybody else, right? And so yeah, I lucked out. It was great. And it was a good fit for me, for sure. So that's kind of my story. And again, it set me up for a tremendous amount of academic success to be able to really, explode off the ground academically like a rocket instead of, very slowly taking off. And it was all because of the postdoc. And a postdoc has a variety of different functions, so I'm going to give you the 3 key reasons why I think that if nothing else, you should consider doing a postdoc. So reason #1 you should consider doing a postdoc is to build up your publication record. Now, obviously, you can do things like publishing the remainder of your doctoral dissertation. Sometimes you have multiple different studies if you're in a field of scientific research, and you may not have time by the end of your doctorate to publish all those pieces. Imagine that instead of having to jump right into departmental politics, join departmental committees, be doing things like teaching and research and grant writing and all these things at the same time, you get a couple of years that you can almost think about like a gap year after high school where you essentially can focus just on yourself. You have the right to be selfish and to focus only on yourself and your career. It's this bridge time. It's amazing, I can just tell you that right now. And by just taking that extra time, you can really focus on maximizing your publication count and your publication quality. So that's one benefit. Also, you can get on publications with some really big name people. If you have a supervisor, or if there's other people in the department, or if they have connections with really big names in your field, and you can network with them and do some publications with them, because they know that, you're doing your postdoc, so you're really hungry. If you're doing a postdoc, you're a hustler, right? You want to get this career off the ground. I love postdocs because of that. I remember how I was with a postdoc. I was hungry for success, and I was willing to do a lot of work to be able to get there. So I've always liked working with postdocs, and I recommend that anybody, if you're a more senior level academic, you consider working with postdocs yourself for that very reason. And it's a great experience for postdocs because by associating ourselves with bigger name people, obviously it is an invaluable mechanism for us to increase our own personal academic brand, and also to be able to get to know somebody who knows a lot of people and can open doors for us in the future if we do a good job. Right? And finally, you can start new passion projects during your postdoc because you don't have to focus on all these little practical bureaucratic things that come with being a professor. And because of that, by starting these passion projects during your postdoc, that can set you up for publication success literally for years and years to come. You can start big projects. During my postdoc, I started the largest survey project in the history of my field. I developed guidelines with dozens of co-authors for my field. I guest edited 2 special issues of journals. I did things that resulted in very high publication counts for a number of years after the postdoc was finished. And again, that made a huge difference in terms of doors being opened for me for bigger and better opportunities in the future. Really amazing. So that's reason 1. Reason number 2 you should consider doing a postdoc is to be provided some time specifically for learning advanced skills in academia. These are things like, if you're in a field of scientific research, advanced statistical analysis. You'll hear me say over and over again in this series, advanced statistical analysis is the way to go. If you can develop a skill set in an analytic form that other people aren't very familiar with, you are so marketable. For me, it was meta-analysis. Some people, it can be literally anything. Individual data analysis, so IDA. Literally anything. Factor analytics. Structural equation modeling, hierarchical linear modeling, whatever it is. If you become an expert in one of these forms of modeling nobody else knows, you become a huge asset. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and luckily people usually, in your department will have data sets that you can take and mine using these new analytic techniques that have never been used before on that data set, and hopefully come up with some cool new stuff that is publishable. Right? Same thing you can learn about grant writing. Grant writing is huge in academia. You really need to know how to do it, especially if you're in a field where most of the tenure track positions are Research 1 universities, R1 universities. Also practical things that we discussed during this series, writing academic book proposals, how to write different kinds of articles. So, maybe writing like an editorial, letter to the editor versus a review, be it a narrative review, systematic review, meta-analysis versus a primary research study. There's so many different kinds of articles to write. Oftentimes they use different kinds of language and styles, and this is just a time that you can reserve to yourself for learning those practical skills. And hopefully watching every video in the Navigating Academia series, please. And reason number 3 is a practical one, which is that it gives you more time to prepare your application materials for tenure track positions. A lot of the times, you're exploding after out of the doctorate, right? So the doctorate finishes not with a whimper, but really with a bang. And because of that, you're focused so much on, all this action of, getting the doctorate and submitting the dissertation and this kind of stuff, that then on top of all of that, to have to do all the application materials, oh man, it's a lot, right? So because of that, having some time to yourself to put those materials together in a way that's very thoughtful and can maximize the likelihood of you at least getting an interview, let alone getting a position offer, it's a good thing, right? And remember that there are fewer tenure track positions now than, almost ever. Everybody's, adjunct in terms of new positions opening. You remember also that your starting salary often determines your end salary, so you want to make sure that you can negotiate for the best salary possible, the best conditions possible. And obviously, the better application package you put together, the more likely you are to have more power in those negotiations. And obviously, at the end of the day, we just want the best odds. Doesn't mean 100% you're going to get it, but the best odds you're going to get a job you actually want. So at a university you want to teach at, in a department you want to teach in, with great colleagues, at a place that has a lot of resources for you, where you can grow as an academic and as a person. So that is reason number 3. I would definitely consider it in terms of doing a postdoc. It's a great thing. All right, y'all, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I appreciate it as always, and I want to hear from you in the comments below. Are you considering doing a postdoc right now? Do you have any worries about it? Any thoughts that you can share with our community? And if you've already completed a postdoc, what did you think about it? If you skipped one and just went straight to, let's say, being an assistant professor, or whatever the equivalent it is, in your field or in your country, do you regret it? Do you think that there's anything you missed out on? Are you happy with the decision? There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just our sharing our knowledge with one another. As always, if you have any suggestions for future episodes of Navigating Academia, please do let us know, because that's what we're here for. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends, with your colleagues, and with your students. Subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. If you're interested in one-on-one career mentoring, please sign up for a consultation call with me via the website below, and let's talk about where you are right now, talk about any unique troubles you may be having, and how we can get you most effectively to where you want to be in the field. Signing off, everybody. Have a great day, and don't forget, get out there, take chances, and be your best self. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here as always. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more in this series on navigating academia, please click on one of these links over here to be able to view more original content. I hope to see you there.